Joining us now from Singapore is Professor Eduardo Araral from the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. How significant is this visit of President Joko Widodo to the country?
This is very important, Rico, because number one, Indonesia is the biggest country and biggest economy in the region. It's all countries in ASEAN looks to Indonesia as a leader. So if the leader of a big country visits your country, that's very important, especially that Indonesia is an important neighbor of the Philippines. There are many potentials between Philippines and Indonesia relations. For example, Rico, Indonesia is a major producer of fertilizer, and the Philippines badly needs fertilizer, Rico. Indonesia, major producer of coal, energy, Rico, and Philippines badly need that. So those two things, Rico, are badly needed in the Philippines. That's why President Joko Wid's visit is very important. And also, Rico, as a leader in ASEAN, President Widodo has good ties with China. He can play a big role in facilitating the approval of the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea.
I was about to ask you that as a follow-up question because we continue to be bullied by the Chinese, but ASEAN has not come forward with a finalization of this Code of Conduct with Beijing. How soon do you think before this materializes, Professor?
Well, Rico, you know, in the ASEAN way, they don't talk loudly. ASEAN avoids megaphone diplomacy. And I think the Philippines should learn from Indonesia in avoiding megaphone diplomacy. That issue of the Code of Conduct has been around for 23 years now, Rico, and I don't think it will be approved anytime soon because there's some sticking points, namely that China does not want the United States to be involved in any way, one way or another, but the Philippines objects to that. So I think that's the main sticking point. The other nation states in ASEAN does not have much maritime conflict with China as much as the Philippines. So sa kanila, Rico, they're willing to move the conduct as fast as possible. But for the Philippines and China, it's a lot more difficult, Rico.
All right, so we're going to see a lot of talks on business, investments, the Code of Conduct in ASEAN. But at the heart of this visit will be Mary Jane Veloso, Professor. And during the ASEAN Summit in Indonesia, President Marcos asked the Indonesian government to re-examine Mary Jane Veloso's case. Will President Widodo, in your view, bring good news when he meets President Marcos tomorrow?
Well, we are hoping, Rico, because the facts state that Mary Jane Veloso is a victim in this case. She was used by drug syndicates to bring drugs to Indonesia. And see, President Widodo, we all know he's, in Filipino language, he's makatao. I think he will listen to the plea. I think he will weigh all considerations, and hopefully with his visit, he can give the Filipino people a very good New Year's blessings, by giving Veloso an executive clemency. She's been in jail for 13 years, Rico. I think that's already a long time. And with President Widodo stepping down next year, I think this is the right time for him to pardon Jane Veloso.
And her execution has been suspended now for 9 years. So as you say, it may be a great Christmas gift for the Filipino people that she will be released from an Indonesian jail. And you just mentioned that this is the final term of Joko Widodo. What legacy does he leave behind, Professor?
Well, Rico, if he grants an executive clemency to Jane Veloso, Filipinos would appreciate that legacy. But for amongst Indonesians, I think he is regarded as one of the best and most popular presidents ever for Indonesia. His approval rating, Rico, recently is staggering 76%. And he is the president of Indonesia that built the one and only high-speed railway in Southeast Asia, WUSH. It's called WUSH. and he built so much infrastructure, and he gave a lot of education and healthcare and other support for Indonesia. So he is very much well loved by the Indonesian people. But of course, for Filipinos, his legacy would be to free Jane Veloso, Rico.
And who is likely to succeed Jokowi when he ends his term as president of Indonesia?
Well, Indonesia will have their election next month, Rico. But according to the polls in Indonesia, the leading candidate is Minister Prabowo, who is also endorsed by President Jokowi. President Jokowi is quite popular, and that lends credence also to the presidency of President or candidate Prabowo. But there are three candidates, Rico. Most likely they will go to a presidential runoff in sometime in June. And I think that is a very good lesson for the Philippines, Rico. With the talk about charter chains in the Philippines, Indonesia is a very good case study for proponents of charter chains in the Philippines when they look at the role of presidency, term limits, and accountability. Rico?
And Prabowo, of course, ran against Jokowi in the last two elections and lost, and now he's being endorsed by Joko Widodo.
That's right, Rico. Twice lost.
Oh.
And when he lost on the second time, his supporters were very angry. And President Jokowi invited him to his cabinet to become his defense minister. That's why, the heart of President Jokowi is not just about politics, but that, he's a very pragmatic person. In the Japanese, in Indonesia, you're a Japanese, you weigh and balance all of these things, Rico. So that's why the executive pardon for Jane Veloso is not very remote. In the way that President Jokowi conducts himself in politics, nothing is impossible, Rico.
And during his 3-day visit to the Philippines, a lot of Filipinos and Indonesians are hoping for closer relations between two stalwarts in ASEAN. Eduardo Araral of the Kuan School of Public Policy, thank you so much for your insights.